Hi, my name's Keith Cooper of Northlight Images, and in this video I'm having a look at a continuous video light from Sirui. It's the C60X. It's a small portable battery powered light. Now this is the light, and it is quite dazzling because I don't have a diffuser fitted on this. You can just get an idea of the coverage of it. I normally use a larger Sirui light that I looked at several years ago with a big softbox on it for the main lighting for these videos. I've got a bit of supplementary lighting at the top here, but anyway, this one here, it's controllable by Bluetooth much like the big one, so I'm just going to switch over the lighting. This is just using an app here, so I can turn this one off, go back to the other light and put that on, and that is the normal lighting that I use when I'm shooting videos. Now I'll just go and get the one off the tripod here and have a look at some bits and pieces about some of its features and stuff, because it's quite a useful little light. Now I use the big one all the time, and this one is potentially useful for, I'm going to be setting up new lighting once I move a house, which I'm hoping to do fairly soon now, sometime in the next month or so, so the surroundings will change at some point. But anyway, let's have a look at what this light does. Anyway, here's the light. It's the size of a largish compact camera. On the front of it, there is actually a lens and reflector which gives the beam coverage that you saw earlier. I'm not going to put it on now because it'll dazzle me at this distance. Has a control at the back that you can roll and push, and a little display that gives you temperature and things like that. Now, if I just press the release, I can take the reflector and lens off it, and we can see the bicolor LED system. Now it's a bicolor LED system. I've looked at a few of these over time, and in fact the one that is used for lighting the room here is similar but a few years older. There are two LEDs, there's a grid of LEDs. There is a grid of warm LEDs and cool LEDs, and by controlling the mix between them you can adjust the color temperature. Now that's actually quite important for matching. Let's just see if I can just pop that, there we go, clicks in place. There is, incidentally, it comes with a dome diffuser that you can fit, but I'll cover that in a minute because it does actually change characteristics of the light quite a bit. It was just now, the lighting in here, it was on 8% of its maximum. It's USB charged, and it charges, I think it took half an hour to recharge from after using it for a while. During testing, I've been running it for several hours. If you're not running it at 100%, it will last for quite some time. It does run warm, and it has a built-in fan which you can hear once you put your the strength up over about 25-30%. the fan will start to kick in. You can turn the fan off, but it will then shut down if it overheats. You can power it from USB connection as well. It comes with a USB power connector. This one's rated at 100 watts. If you're going to run it off a power adapter, it needs to be quite a hefty power adapter. I think this one's only 45 watts, so it will charge it quite quickly, but it won't run it at full strength. If you run it off a connector that doesn't have the power, it just won't go to 100% brightness. But anyway, all these tables and graphs. One of the things that's very useful about lighting, if you're setting stuff up, is knowing that the numbers that appear either on the display here or on the iPad here, and I'm running the same app that's controlling via Bluetooth, controlling the big light here with the big softbox on it and this one here, is that if I go to it, I can select either of these lights, and in looking at this one here, I can see it was set to 8%. If I turn it on, there we go, we can see it's come, you should be able to see it's come back on again. So I've got control. Now, I can set this, let's put it the right way up. I've got a small plate on it. It's got a 1/4 inch thread on the bottom of it. I've just put a quick release plate just so I could pop it on a tripod over there. Now, in adjusting this, standard settings, 25%, 50%, 100%, you can adjust the so-called temperature, the color temperature of the light, from 2,500 to 6,500. Now, by using this, which is a data color light color meter, by using this, I was able to take measurements of the relative light output and the actual color temperature against the indicated color temperature. Now, I found in looking at lights like this that the indicated color temperature can really be quite a lot off what it actually is. The color quality of this is pretty good, enough that I won't have to make many adjustments during video editing. But through using multiple lights, even if they're from the same make, notice that the technology has changed, the LED technology, which means you may have one light. This one is one of the more accurate ones in terms of the display, but the big one over there, I know that if I want 4000K roughly lighting to match this screen, this one's a little bit off, I need to adjust this again. This one is far too cool. This will look distinctly blue because this is set for D65, so it's not matched to this lighting. But I know that if I want to set my lighting, ideally I will need to match lights. If you want easy lighting matches, pick all the same model of light. So have a whole stack of these, a whole stack of these. Incidentally, this one here will work off batteries. It's got an adapter plate on it that you can put big rechargeable batteries onto it. So that one works quite well and I've used it. But this is designed to be handheld and easy to use. Now, looking at this data here, I can see that at 10% output, if I've set the temperature to 2500, the actual measured temperature is 2700. But I noticed that as you increase the brightness, the color temperature, the actual color temperature against the set color temperature varies. So at 2500, at 10% output, it's 2740, so it's a little bit cooler lighting. But at 100% output, it's down to 2610. So there's a slight change there. Now, I pop these graphs into it. I'll do some written notes to go with this, so you can actually have a look at these graphs in more detail if they're of any interest to you. But what I can see from measuring at multiple temperatures, multiple brightnesses, is that the color accuracy is better at higher light outputs. At low outputs, and I just had it on 8% just now, I didn't measure that low, but at 10% there's a bit of drift. So if I want 5000K output, I need to set this to 4900 at 10%, but if I want 5000, it's not drifted much by 60-70 degrees between full brightness. So it varies by different areas. So that's how the brightness varies, how the color temperature varies, depending on what you've set and depending on what the output is. Now, looking at the power output, the actual light output, that also, as you go from 2500 up to 6500, the actual brightness of the light source changes slightly as well. That's more obvious at 100% than it is at 10-25%, where there's not much change at all. One other bit, I said about the diffuser dome. Now this will light up quite a large area, and it's very useful if you need that. But although it looks as translucent white rubbery plastic, slight problem, it changes the color temperature, and I measured that as well. And I did the same comparison between set temperature and measured temperature. And whereas from looking at the light with no diffuser on it, it goes from 2500, comes out at about 2700, take it up to 6500, and we've got an output of about 60, well, pretty near 6500. So that's fairly accurate. Add this onto it and it warms it quite a lot. In fact, if you look at this, you can see the plastic has a slight warmth to it. So if I want 5,000 degrees output, I can't have it. This won't. If you put this on, you can't get to D50 lighting. It won't. This covers warm lighting. If I can get probably to about 4,700 with this, so that's this set at 6,500. Add this onto it and it'll drop it down quite a bit. In fact, if you put this on its warmest, it drops this down to about 2,300. So if you've got a match tungsten lighting, then using the diffuser here of it will actually let you get closer to relatively dim tungsten lighting. So there we go. That's the technical bits of it. In terms of usefulness, yeah, it's nice. It feels very solid. You can see through it, works as a fan inside it. The reflector here works very well. Diffuser works well as well. You can get adapters for it so that you can fit this onto an adapter and then use have a Bowens mount so that I could fit softboxes and other things like that. But really this is intended, that's what that's for. This is intended for, you know, portable lighting. Where would I use this? I would probably use it in some of my photography, in that it's easier to set up and it's brighter than flash. Flash is quite awkward sometimes to use when I'm working in factories, particularly if I'm almost inside machinery and trying to get things like that. It's very difficult to get the lighting right. Add something like this, maybe with the diffuser on it, and from a photography point of view, it's absolutely superb because I can hold this inside machinery, put the diffuser on it, and I just light things up, and I can obviously see it on the camera what I'm getting. It's useful for stuff. The reflector is good on it. Gives nice, good, smooth beam. There's no obvious fall off, and there's no colour fall off as well. Which certainly old models of lights that I tested, they were very prone to. Towards the edge of the field, you would start getting a bit of colour come in and changes like that. But anyway, there you have it. Yeah, it does what it says on the box. It's just a nice, nifty little light. So here it is, Sirui C60X, 60 watt handheld pocket light. Although I haven't got many coats with pockets that will fit this, but I suppose if you took that off, maybe. Anyway, if you've got any questions, let me know. I have looked at this light colour meter, done a separate review of that because it's a useful bit of kit. This is also, I can drive it either from Mac, from the phone, whatever. But there you go. Oh, I should also mention, because these lights always have it on, this has a whole load of effects as well. So if you want to simulate candle flicker, lightning, all of it, every single light that I've tested of the last few years has this sort of multiple effects stuff on it. I've never had this. I'm not a videographer. I don't do videos other than these videos. So I really don't need stuff like that. But it's there in case you do. I put notes to all the specs and everything like that. And yeah, well, there you go. C60X. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.